Well, everybody, thank you for watching the show. My name is Graham Elwood. You're watching The Political Vigilante. I'm here with Richard Medhurst. Richard, I wanted to ask you, too, you were, because you're in the UK, you were at some of the trials and for Julian Assange.
Yeah.
And I don't think you weren't in the courthouse, but you were outside, correct?
No. So I'm based in Vienna, but I went to the UK and I was in the courthouse. So I was in. You went up to the 6th floor, but this is very interesting. It's so obvious, but I realized that only after why they put the trial all the way up on the 6th floor at the end of the hallway. They wanted to make sure that you couldn't hear the activists outside like you did in February. Well, I wasn't there in February, but I know that there was a whole racket. So now I know why, because there was COVID and most of the rooms were empty, so they could have put it on any floor, but they chose the highest floor all the way to the end. So I was there. I was in the court, and I was in the room at the end of the hallway, which is a court in itself, but it was transformed into a media press annex. And it's so stupid because, you had, we're sitting at the top, like me and 4 other people. One day, for example, I was with Fidel Narvaez, who was the former consul at the embassy, right? So he knows Julian very well, and he knows about the spying and all this stuff. Most of the time it was me and other journalists or people involved with the case, because they were shutting out everyone from actually covering the thing. Even online, like the first day of the trial, they revoked 40 plus links for like NGOs, observers, members of parliament, and journalists. Yeah, like for no reason. And this is during COVID. Like they could easily just let people in. They didn't want to. And so I was in the next room. So basically, on the other side of the wall was Julian Assange. And we had screens, and we could see what's like going on in the next room, where Julian actually was in this glass box. And it's just, I have so many emotions about this case, and it's like I'm not even Julian's family or something. It's just so fucked up, because every single day it's just one scandal after the next. The shifting of goalposts every day by the U.S. prosecution is just revolting. There's just off the top of my head, like they would say, oh yeah, maybe he has depression, but it's not that bad. It's not like suicidal depression. Or does he really have Asperger's? We don't think he does, because this doctor from 1998 doesn't think so. Or and saying things like, well, Julian Assange doesn't have any First Amendment rights. Sorry. Julian Assange is not a journalist. He's a hacker. And, even if he were a journalist, he doesn't actually have First Amendment rights. Like, just fucking shifting the goalposts every second and shitting on the, every semblance of justice. And, one of the best ones was about the spying on him. AUSA Kronberg, the federal prosecutor, he made some kind of assurance that we can't confirm or deny that we spied on Julian Assange in the embassy, but if we did, we promise we won't use any of the evidence in the court case when he's extradited to the US. Just fucking nuts. And you're in the middle of fucking London, just watching this shit. And it's I can't believe this is unfolding. And the problem is that the judge, she ruled against extradition, which sounds good. That one I watched online, because you couldn't enter the UK because of COVID, which is January 4th. And I heard her and I saw her handing down the sentence, and she ruled against the extradition, but only on health grounds. Basically that US prisons are so shitty, specifically the federal super maximum where they likely put him, that there's a high chance he would commit suicide. That's why she won't let them extradite him. But everything else, the hacking charge, there's one count under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. This is saying that, he conspired with Chelsea Manning, which is not true. They can't even prove it. And there are 17 other counts under the Espionage Act. She agreed with all of that shit. So she criminalized journalism. And the best part is she also started drawing parallels with UK law. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so there's a bit of contention on this point, but it's weird because it's why is she doing that? Is she trying to set some kind of precedence that this is also illegal in the UK, even though we're talking about US laws? And even it would be illegal in the US, right? Because Julian Assange is not a fucking spy. He's a journalist, and she's trying to, they're trying to criminalize the First Amendment and journalism and national security journalism. So it's really, really worrisome, this appeal. The verdict, because it sounds good, but it's not good for journalism. And for now we're just waiting for the appeal to happen. And Joe Biden's administration said, yeah, we're going to appeal it. So, this is, again, another point where they're just continuing what Trump did. Yeah.
And Trump could have, pardoned him, and he didn't. We were all kind of hoping he would, just as a thumb in the nose for the Democrat. I didn't care what his reasons would have been had he done it.
Right.
But ultimately, it's just more evidence that there's really not much difference between Trump and Biden. I mean, really,
absolutely none. I mean, none whatsoever.
Yeah. The deep state wins, the intelligence community wins, the military industrial complex wins, big pharma wins, for-profit healthcare wins, for-profit prisons win, Goldman Sachs wins. That's who wins. Anytime one of these assholes from these two corrupt parties gets in there, whatever hand-picked Wall Street warmonger is chosen by the ruling elites, and they love the fact that Biden's in there because he barely even knows where he is. And they're like, this is great. This guy's got dementia, and they're just what a great puppet. What a great puppet.
Yeah. And not just that, but I mean, he's one of the architects of the system, right? I mean, he when they say that Joe Biden can get things done and, he can reach across the aisle, that means he's so corrupt that he's on good terms with everyone. And that's the reason why he's in the White House now. And, the only difference between him and Trump is that Trump, he took off the mask, essentially. With Trump, it was a bit too explicit. You can't come and say, oh, we're keeping the oil. No, Joe Biden says protecting the oil is not our priority. And then he still keeps fucking troops at the oil. It's just
it's not our priority.
Unfucking believable.
We're still doing it. It's not the priority. I mean, bombing is going to be a priority, but protecting the oil, it's on the short list.
It's unbelievable. I feel like we're in a fucking episode of the Twilight Zone, and I feel almost bad saying that sometimes because, I feel like I don't have a right to even complain given what my cousins had to live through. I still have family there, but it's just so offensive, and I'm just constantly fucking offended on everyone's behalf. Whether it's Syria or Yemen, I mean, I've never been to Yemen or Libya, or the US. I mean, most of my audience, I don't actually know them personally, but I still feel offended and pissed off on their behalf because, we're all human beings at the end of the day, and we're being fucked by the same people. We're being fucked by the banks that you mentioned and the military industrial complex, and they're crapping all over us. And then you have these clowns that come along and tell you and try to sheep herd you into voting for more of the same, for people who actually don't have a spine, who are not going to challenge anyone who's in DC. So yeah, I'm pissed off.
Yeah, and it's infuriating for me on a lot of levels, just because it's offensive. We're killing people, and we're all getting screwed. And the 1% and the banks and all those people we've talked about, they're all profiting from this. But what makes me even more insane is our tax dollars, American tax dollars, are funding this shit. On top of just the Federal Reserve just prints money to do it as well. But we're all paying taxes. And what is it? It's like, I would have no problem paying taxes if we weren't at war with anybody. We were helping people. We all had health care. I don't have any kids of my own, but if it was my neighbor's kids got to go to college for free, I'd gladly pay taxes for that.
Precisely.
We had green technology everywhere. We had, really great, we were exporting all this green energy and science. America doesn't innovate. We're not at the top of any of the good lists. We're at the top of bombing. We're at the top of handgun deaths. We're at the top of, infant mortality in industrialized nations. We're at the top of the obesity list. We're at the top of, illiteracy in an industrial age. We have all these horrible categories that we're number one in. And it's I don't want to give this awful government a nickel. I don't want to pay for it. I gladly pay. I see how it works on a municipal level, because municipal governments don't have a Federal Reserve that can just print the money. They have to operate on a budget. And Santa Monica, where I live before the pandemic and everything, it had nice parks. They spent money on updating the bike lanes and all this stuff. And it has its own police and fire department. So there was quicker response times than if you were in Los Angeles. I'm like, all right, well, that's worth an extra tax dollar to me for those daily life social services.
Right.
And, we've got large portions of America. Look what happened in Texas. Good God, the people didn't have electricity or water. where is this money going? Oh, I know where it's going. It's going to bomb Syria and Yemen and the 12-year war in Afghanistan. Like it's
you know what the irony is? You know what the irony is? It's like I remember when I go to Syria, like every year, it would basically, I mean, it was normal, like to have electricity cuts, water cuts, right? And like every year something would get better. Like in the last couple of years before the war started, there were no more electricity cuts. Like, and I like one day I was like, yo, the electricity's still on. What's going on? And they're like, yeah, that doesn't happen anymore. We're good. And it's like now everything has been set back like 20 fucking years. And just as you pointed out, it's like even people in America are getting screwed by this agenda. And again, it's absurd because it's like all of this money is being spent on imperialism and on plundering and on theft, and the victims of imperialism are being screwed, and even the citizens of the country doing the imperialism, whether it's the UK or it's the US, are not even they're not even getting anything from it, right? They're also being screwed. I mean, it would still be wrong, obviously, to profit off of another country, but it's not even that. It's like just one ruling class screwing over both their citizens and worker. It's an international gang. And it's horrible. And, as you said, at least if stuff would go towards social services, actually help people, I mean, great, but they don't even use it for that. And then, they come in and vote for defense budgets that are the size of the goddamn galaxy, and include money for Israelis to kill Palestinians and, things that Americans don't benefit from in any way. And that's your money. And if you dare open your mouth, look what they do, right? You can't even criticize them because now there's a blue man doing it. So now it's okay all of a sudden. Yeah. And I have to point out the irony that, nothing's changed, right? Like, what were Americans saying 300 years ago, like under the British, right? They're saying like no taxation without representation. It's the same shit. It's just a different figurehead, right? Instead of a British monarch, it's now just a bunch of corporations, but it's the same relationship. It's horrible. And it's not even just in America, it's worldwide like that, where you have these corporations screwing over everyone.
And to bring it full circle, that's what Julian Assange and WikiLeaks have been pointing out. And that's why he's so dangerous. And they got to lock him up and have this kangaroo court just doctoring up all these ridiculous charges and everything like that. So, well, I'm glad you were able to go there and see up front what it looked like and how ridiculous it is, because everything that we've been talking about has been connected and covered and leaked and published by WikiLeaks. I mean, like they have shown all this and they've never been wrong. That's why they're so dangerous. And that's why what's happening to Julian Assange is ridiculous. And again, the corporate media here should be in an outrage over Julian Assange. Every journalist, but they're not journalists. They're not. I mean, Rachel Maddow. I mean, Jimmy Dore was able to get Tucker Carlson to kind of see
that was good.
Which was good, but still.
That was really good.
He wasn't like banging the drum about it every night after. I mean, because ultimately, even someone like Tucker Carlson kind of gets it when Jimmy's on. Still, he's paid a 7 or 8 figure income, just like Anderson Cooper and Rachel Maddow and Wolf Blitzer and Joanne Reed, to just spew bullshit for the ruling class. That's all they're there to do. And to keep America distracted, divided, and afraid. Oh, it's the Republicans' fault. Oh, it's the Democrats' fault. Whatever. That's
Iranian-backed militias.
Yeah, the Iranian-backed militias. It's the China virus. Whatever. Like, let's blaming Chinese people for the COVID-19 is like blaming hurricanes on Bermuda. Like it's never good. It's preposterous. Well, Richard, man, I really appreciate you taking time. I know you're in a different time zone there to come on our show.
Of course.
Tell people how they can follow you and watch what you're doing and keep track of all the content you're putting out there.
Sure. So my website is richardmedhurst.com, and my YouTube channel is just youtube.com/Richard Medhurst. And if people want to support, they can just come here on Rockfin, endorse you, endorse me, doesn't matter. Just it helps everybody on independent media, helps us grow. That's basically it. And my Twitter is Richie Medhurst, RICHI Medhurst. And Graham, I was demonetized last year in June when I was covering the Israeli annexation. Yeah, they fucked me. So I know what that's like, unfortunately. And I went a few weeks demonetized, and I don't know how they reversed that. I think there was just people were like just retweeting it, and I think that must have helped. But yeah, like it's just very peculiar that it happened in the week, when I was doing lots of videos about Israel and their annexation plan, and they hit me with the most ridiculous shit, like something to do with like copyrighted material. Like what? Like just that was some bullshit. So thank God that was okay. But we still should be wary, and that's why we should also diversify and not stay on YouTube, and also help Rockfin to grow. So this is gonna be our new home.
Right on. Yeah, everybody go to Rockfin and watch Richard's show, and it's awesome what you're doing. Thanks for covering, man. So thank you for being on the show, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And I know I was supposed to come on your show, and then
you're welcome anytime. No worries. I know you're busy, and there's a lot going on, but you're welcome anytime. So just let me know. I'm happy to host you anytime.
All right, cool, brother. Thanks.
Thank you. It's a pleasure coming on, Graham.
All right, Richard Medhurst. We'll see you soon, man.
Yes, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at GrahamElwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.